In this video, we will review one option for creating account roles in Salesforce Lightning using a custom junction object. This is a new Trailhead playground that I just created. I have created a contact and account for myself in addition to the pre-populated ones, and I've not yet made any changes to the configuration. So let's get started. We will switch over to the object manager here and start by creating a new custom object that will function as our account role junction object. We can call it account role, plural, account roles. Does start with a vowel. I recommend switching the data type for the name to be an auto number. The reason for that is that we do not want to have to give each role its own name for the junction object manually. So we can paste in this example to get us started. Starting number 0. Let's go ahead and allow reports and track field history, but we do not need to allow activities on the junction object or to allow in the chatter groups. Make sure the default option of deployed is selected. We may want to search for different roles, so we will check that box and hit save. Now that our new custom object is created, we will add our fields to make this a junction object. New master detail relationship. We need one master detail relationship for account and contact each. Related to account, we can leave the field label as account. I usually, for this scenario, will leave the checkbox child records can be reparented unchecked. The best practice would be to create a new account role instead of moving an existing one. So with that, we'll hit next. We will leave full visibility to this field, as this is just a Trailhead playground. We will add the field to the one-page layout that we have. Here we will also add the related list for the account roles to these account layouts. And let's click Save and View. We will go through the same steps for the contact master detail relationship field. Contact next. Leave that name, leave the other defaults. Click next, next, next. And let's create one or two more fields for the actual role. We could create one pick list field for all the roles we want to assign. I'm thinking we may have some internal and external roles that we would like to track using this junction object. So we might want to create two different pick lists and create a dependency between the two. Let's say we do require this field in order to save a record. And I have to enter pick list values, naturally. Again, we'll leave full visibility for this field. We will add it to the layout, and we will create one more pick list. We'll call this one role. we will enter some values here. Let's say internal roles might include account executive, solution engineer, and inside sales rep. Say some outside roles might include executive, an approver, which I did not spell correctly, or I did, and the red squiggly doesn't like it. Approver, influencer, and end user. And we will also require this pick list to be filled in. Next. And save. So our next step, since we did create those two pick list fields, is to set up the field dependencies. The controlling field will be the role type, the dependent field will be the role. So for internal, we would like to select these roles. For external, we would like to select these roles. And click Save. So now our junction object is created. We have the two relationship fields, and we have also added a couple pick lists to describe the role that relates the contact to the account. With that, let's go ahead and go over to an account. I created one called My Company. And so the first thing we'll see is that account roles has been added to the very bottom of the related lists. Wherever your related lists are, this will be the case when we add it by default. So we may want to do some editing of the order as well as what fields are going to show up in the account roles here. To do that, let's go ahead and click Edit Page from the account. Quick way to jump us over to the Lightning App Builder. And at this point, what I see is that we actually have in the Trailhead Playground that they are all grouped together as the default. In many organizations I've worked with, these will be listed as individual related lists that we can drag and drop to reorder, which is certainly an option that we can do. We can select a related list single, and let's create a special section over here just to see the account roles. We can add a tab, and let's select custom account roles. Done. And in this tab, we will add our related list single. And we have account role selected as the related list. Let's save, activate, assign as org default, and activation settings changed. So the next thing we want to do is to actually go edit the page layout so that we can choose what fields are going to show up in our account roles here. To do that, we'll go over to Edit Object, Page Layouts. The good question is which layout we are using. If we look and see if record type is shown in the Trailhead org, it looks like it might not be. Let's go ahead and start by editing the account layout, which I believe is the default one. We'll find out if I'm not correct on that trailhead playground default. So down here at the bottom is where we will rearrange the grouped list. So I mentioned we can rearrange on the Lightning page individual related list single, it's called. Here's where we will rearrange the grouped all related list section. Let's go ahead and move it to the top just to see some different options here. What we can also do here is go to the related list properties. Now we remember that the account role name is actually an auto number field, so that will be useful for clicking through to the record, but won't really tell us much about the record. So let's select a couple other options here, and I'm going to do a control find for name to hopefully speed up first name. Do that. Let's add the first name, let's add the last name. Let's say we've got the account role, let's add the role, and let's add the role type, and let's actually put the role type above the role. So let's take a look and see how this looks. So we'll save, we'll quick save, yes, my company. So over here, let's go ahead and create a new account role. Since we're creating it from this account, it will pre-populate the My Account field. I'm going to say I am an internal role as a solution engineer for my company, named My Company. And we see here that it is still just showing the account role. It's not showing the other fields we selected. So one of two things is possible. Either the configuration has not refreshed to this page, and or we did not update the layout that is being used for our view here. Control F5 is a handy shortcut that will do what's called a hard refresh on the window browser. Hard refresh, meaning it flushes the caches, that the stored information that it has for the website, and loads it from scratch. It's sometimes a little bit more thorough than just hitting refresh up at the top of the browser or hitting just F5 by itself. We see now that the fields did show up. It looks like I only get 4 options here to show up. So I am actually going to change that to show the role instead of the role type. Let's move that up. Hit save, quick save, come over here, do another Control F5. Check out our account roles, now showing Solution Engineer for my account. So now what we may find is that I have a different role for a different company. Let's check out another company and say that for GenePoint, actually, I'm a solution engineer all around in this scenario. So I will also be a solution engineer for GenePoint. Because I am internal, probably could have clarified this better. Internal would be to my company, and I am again a solution engineer. Now we see Edna Frank is a VP of technology over at this company, so we can also create a contact role for Edna. Search for Edna Frank, say that she is external to my company, and her role as a VP will be an executive. We'll give her that credit. She's an executive VP. So now we can see that Edna is the executive for this account. I am the solution engineer for this account. And we can keep adding multiple contacts from across different companies to multiple accounts to show different relationships in between different contacts and accounts. This also gives us some ability to report if we want to see. I did click allow reports when I created the object, so we should have an account or a report type here. Account with account roles and contacts so we've got contacts with account roles and contacts, and accounts with account roles and contacts are two report types generated automatically when we build those master detail relationships. Let's go ahead and say accounts with account roles and contacts, and this will give us a framework for understanding where the different contacts have different account roles. Looks like we may want to add the role itself. And let's go ahead and group rows by this field. So now we can see that as a solution engineer, I am listed for these two companies, and Frank is listed as an executive for Checkpoint. This is obviously highly flexible for how you can report by company by role once you have this junction object configured. One might also be interested in using various filters to see which accounts have various roles, don't have various roles, who's assigned the most in one role or another. At any rate, highly flexible in terms of its reporting, in terms of its flexibility, adding a couple pick lists there, maybe just one pick list, to provide an option for account roles that will show up on the account and on the contact with the way we added it. Some people may not want the related list to show up on the contact, can just remove that or not select it when creating the object. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you. Please do comment, let me know if you have any questions. Would love to help further in any way I can.